morning, Rouser Radio at long last, back on the air at 6:10, 10 minutes late from its usual time, but this morning has been a technological disaster. Good morning, Rouser Radio, out of Lewes in East Sussex, broadcasting on WWW, so broadcasting to the world, but really focused on the tiny towns of East Sussex from Battle to Brighton, up to Gatwick and up to Tunbridge Wells. And I hope that you will forgive us for being late. First of all, television was late this morning because when the boys have had a little night out and they go back with a hangover into the lab, they try hard to find all sorts of new technology which they will suggest improves life for us, to actually thwart us and make us work harder to understand what on earth it is that they want. This morning it took me about 5 or 6 passwords to go through the various material that I wanted, and it kept on going back in a loop, and then the page wouldn't close. By the time I finished, I was grey, and well, actually, I'm bald mostly, so the bits that I got went grey. But it is quite remarkable that every time we turn around, is things which were so simple to use last week have been complicated by somebody down the line, who fiddled around overnight and decided, I'll get them, I'll give them a bad time today. And give him a bad time, he most certainly does. So let's see if we can winkle him out and do something about him. Anyway, the reason that radio is late is because as we switched from studio to studio, the technology for the radio is we got it on and then it froze. So we had to shut everything down and reboot it to get it going again. Oh, goodness gracious me. I mean, it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? It just makes you absolutely wonder. No wonder everybody is going as grey as I am with all this stuff. And I just don't know why. I mean, I understand that one of the glitches that they haven't been able to fix with all computers is they jam. And the only way to unjam them is to close down, stop your computer, reboot it, and start again. But in some instances, if you've forgotten to save, you lose an awful lot of material. Oh, well, that's something here called Hear the Noise. Let's see, why not? To get us into a frustrating morning. I always remember that in my early days in radio we would collect bloopers, because we were so used to making mistakes ourselves, we like to know what other people were doing. And there is one famous clip from the 60s when a reporter, or a newsreader actually, starts off the news and he says something like, "We will now go to Chicago for a report from Joe Blow." And there's nothing. Very well, he said, "We'll go back to Joe Blow. We'll now go to Ken Clark in California." Silence. Well, he said, we'll now have to go to Kerry King in Princeton. Nothing. He looked at the camera and said, "Mother told me I'd have days like this." Well, that's something similar has happened to Rouser Radio this morning. My mother told me I'd have days like this, and nothing has gone right, and we're late with you. We'd love to be able to say that all is well, but it's not, because if this happens again, it's something that we're really going to have to be prepared for, because if things jam, the only way really to unjam them is to switch off and switch on again, and that's the surest way to lose what you're doing and cut us off. So it may stop our broadcasting. Let's just talk about one or two things this morning. First of all, council tax. Lewis District Council's tax is going to go up by, well, not quite, 2%. They say they want to make savings and they want to improve services. Well, the improvement bit I can understand, because they are just awful at the moment. They can't even deliver a decent contact system to get hold of the councils. And this comes, of course, from what I believe is an ill-fated merger between two councils. And other councils around the country are considering, and in fact are slotted to do it. Well, councils around the country, if anybody's listening, stop it. They're a disaster. They don't work. It just, for all the grand words, it stopped. And to be quite honest with you, we did not have a say in it as the taxpayer. Here we are funding it, but we did not have a say as to whether it should change or not. And the savings, I can't see it. What has happened is that a number of people have left because it's not a very happy place to work anymore. But in so doing, the council haven't replaced any expertise with another expert. What they've done is that they've just got a pool and a rota, and they've said, you go there, you go there, you go there, and they're trying hard to handle suggestions from the public, queries from the public, but also looking after the technical aspects of things without any experience whatsoever. And it's got them into a right muck, and it's got them into a right muck with me, because I can't understand what it is that they're trying to say. And anyway, they should have said it a long time ago, because I asked for some information from the council, and all I get is a bullying letter saying, if you don't actually pay up £2 million right now, we're going to hang you from the heels in prison. Well, it's not quite that bad, but that's more or less the essence of it. And it's just not good enough. And so they want almost 2%. The county council want almost 3%, 2.99. Now, 2.99% is, they say they want to save 5.1 million, and they want to protect services. But in fact, I don't know whether 2.99% will get them there, replace the money that they want for 5.1 million. But already, and they refuse to say, very good political ploy, we know what we're going to do. Let's wait until the furore dies down over whether, in fact, we increase the going rate for tax by 3%. And then we'll let people know what they're not going to get. But of course the rumours have flashed, not rumours, but in fact some of their proposals have flashed up, and it's all about attacking the older people, the vulnerable, the elderly. It is quite astonishing that generation between 30 and 50 have no concept whatsoever of looking after the lame, the sick, and the elderly. They're much more interested in building roads, which is wonderful, except we've now got 1 million potholes again across the county, because about a year ago we were given some money to fix them, and some of them were fixed. Now we're back to 1 million potholes. Oh, excuse me for yawning, but that 1 million potholes really is because we keep building roads and not building them very satisfactorily, while denying the basic services to our lame, sick, and elderly. So I don't know where they're coming from. Anyway, for local council, we've got an election, a vote on May the 2nd. So use it wisely, and in the meantime, let's ask questions of what we expect from our council and why we're not getting them. That I think is the key to what we're about. And one of my friends from Canada who dips in said, "I don't know what happened tonight." Well, my darling Mary, out in British Columbia, in Victoria, quite one of the most wonderful places to live. It's astonishingly beautiful. In fact, Rupert Lloyd-Thomas from Lewis went out there to live and drove across Canada to get there in a smart car. But Mary, I'll tell you what happened, my dear, is technology got the better of me this morning. And that's the trouble. We're getting to the point where instead of using technology to help, what we're doing is we're letting it run us. So it gets to the point where we don't know what we're doing, and unless the machine gives permission, that's it, chaps. Sit back there, over there. Anyway, personal message to Mary. Let's do it over the radio waves, or at least the internet. I hope you're well. And yes, we've just got our council tax rises in Mary, and I think if we swapped your council for ours, nobody would notice any difference. They are both, as I understand it, you've got a very, very poor administration in Victoria, because the people like lemmings went to the polls and they just voted for the name they recognise. And it's the same here, I'm afraid. We got a pretty poor council, and I bet you it hasn't changed much after that election. People grouse and moan and so on. Do anything about it? No. So anyway, a very good morning to you, or a good night in your particular case, because it will be, as my guess is right, it'll be about 20 past 10 there, and you'll be having your cocoa and ready to go to bed. But the reason that we do talk about the things that we do in the context that we do is because we don't ever want to be parochial. This radio station, Rouser Radio in Lewis in East Sussex, and Mirador Television, based in the same place, don't want to talk trivia. We're not set up to talk trivia. We've got some wonderful groups on Facebook that look after lost cats, and when the local WI is going to meet to sell their jams and so on. That's not our role. Our role is to keep an eye on local council, and for that matter local business, to make sure that the average citizen isn't being